There's this apparent trend we can notice in pretty much all modern shonen anime, and on the surface it does look quite bad, as every other show is more or less following the same winning formula with many similar tropes and all. In fact, recently as I somehow got back into watching some seasonal shonen again, I can tell most of them are pretty decent on their own, and there are some sequels I'm really looking forward to as well. However, I hate to admit it, but they all kinda lack originality. Like, there's nothing unique about them. It might not even be too far off to say this genre is slowly becoming like the isekai slop. Either they have the same kind of tournament arcs or training arcs, similar sounding power systems, tragic villain stories, and like everything else in between. But you know what I think? There's a big reason why the industry is okay with it, and maybe this is not a problem at all. But before I get to that, there's something you might be forgetting now. Yes, the subscribe button down below is feeling kinda lonely, I guess, so maybe you can consider hitting him up. Just the other day, while watching an episode of Tougen Anki, another popular shonen IP that's releasing this fall 2025 season, like I got really concerned why people would even watch these shows when they already have the old classics. And I also have come across people in real life who bear similar sentiment, because they be like, these are all just copies of the original, why would I watch any of this secondhand bullshit? Now this has long bothered me because I was still enjoying most of them, and surely I'm not the only one. I mean, at least the overarching plot is different for each, surely the authors cannot copy that. So the main storyline is the only thing that's separating these shows from each other. But apart from that, the way most of the characters are written, the way they act and behave, and like everything else is quite predictable. And this is coming from a guy who usually watch stuff with his brains off. Like, I usually do not like to psychoanalysis what is going to happen next. But even still, after something similar interesting happens in these so-called new gen shonen, my honest reaction has recently been like, oh, fair enough, sure, this was expected, I guess. Like, I know the storyline is trying to get the viewers hooked with this, suppose a big reveal, or just trying to ramp up the tension with certain plot twists, but most of the time I just stay unbothered. Like, sure, whatever. I was even going through the list of all shonen anime that have come out after 2020 and was trying to find out why do I keep getting such deja vu feelings with each of them. Well, mostly it's because like the villains are always kinda straight up villains and even have similar kinda backstories as an attempt to get us attached. And for the main protagonists, the situation is even worse because almost every time they're just good boys who apparently do not have full control over their powers, and only until a big fight they remain the same. And the side characters are interesting, sure, but they all have their quirky animal-like behavior. And at a certain point, it does get on my nerves, okay? I mean, I know none of these are necessarily bad tropes from a storytelling perspective, but the problem is, they're just overdone. And like it or not, this trend will be around just like how it is now, even in the coming years or even decades later. But you know what? I think it's fine to have these tropes around. Yes, that's right. With some extensive research and brainstorming countless possibilities, I think I've managed to figure out why the authors or the creators are even making these shows. Maybe even some that were made by the same studio. Well, the thing is, somewhere out there, one of these seemingly boring, repetitive shonen anime will be their very first anime. Like, maybe they're not familiar with the classics, so this one can easily become their next favorite thing. And honestly, I can see that happening. In fact, I recently went to a wedding ceremony where I saw a young lad watching the same Tougen Anki I was talking about earlier, and it seemed like he was totally immersed in it. That's when it clicked me, Tougen Anki is not a bad show at all. It's great even. But the problem was with me actually. Because I've already consumed too much good food, this type of modern shonen just doesn't feel new to my taste buds anymore. And I'm sure the anime studios and even the original creators of the series know that. And that's why I think it's totally fine to keep doing what the current shonen landscape is doing now. Plus, we also shouldn't forget how almost every modern mangaka grew up on watching Naruto, Bleach, One Piece, Yu Yu Hakusho, Hunter x Hunter and Dragon Ball Z, so the influence will surely be there. And even for a self-proclaimed OG like me, it's good to watch some good old action shonen sometimes, alright? At least you're getting good action scenes and sick modern opening and ending songs and some vibey OSTs as well. That sounds good enough. At least if the main premise is unique, like in Tougen Anki, where the good old Momotaro are being presented as the bad people, and the show presents us with the perspective of the Oni. Then in Kaiju number 8 we have Kaiju. Yeah, that's it. But that's cool too. What else do we have? Oh yeah, Gachiakuta. Literally trash in it. But as I've already told you in a previous video, the story is cooking in Gachiakuta. So let them cook. Now other than these, if the industry can squeeze out some creators like Tatsuki Fujimoto every now and then, and if we get some refreshers like Dandadan, then what else do we need? After all, I do know that without shonen, there was no way anime could become this big. Like personally, I may not be a big fan of the so-called big three like One Piece, Naruto, Bleach, but I cannot cannot disagree that without them, anime could never be this mainstream. Well, some may argue though that maybe anime shouldn't have become mainstream, which I also agree to a certain extent, but that's a topic for another day. That's all I had to say for now. Hope to see you again in the future then. GG's.